Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories. And one of the big developments that happened today was China blocking India's resolution as far as the censure on Pakistan is concerned about the release of Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. Remember, the Lashkar-e-Toiba commander who was the mastermind of the 26/11 attacks. But why is China doing that? Why is China supporting Pakistan against India? We'll be talking about that as a special guest as well. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. A day after 3 RSS allied outfits voiced concerns on the land bill to select panel, Jaitley indicates a joint session of parliament to pass the bill. Karnataka moves the Supreme Court against Jayalalitha's acquittal, claims mathematical errors in High Court's calculation of her assets. Delhi police arrest the main accused in the Mumbai toxic alcohol tragedy. Maharashtra government orders probe as the toll mounts to 102. And China blocks India's move in UN for action against Pakistan over the release of 26/11 mastermind Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. Well, the top story this evening, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says that the land reform bill could face a joint session of Parliament if it's not passed in the Rajya Sabha, calling the passage of the bill key to the success of the next phase of reforms and achieving India's growth target. He said the government has the numbers to ensure its passage.
The government has a plan to get the contentious land bill passed in the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley indicated this on Monday while giving a presentation on India's economic future at the Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research. Jaitley said, and I quote, "The land bill is currently before the Joint Select Committee. I'm keeping my fingers crossed as to how this debate would proceed. But I do hope that the Joint Select Committee comes out with some agreed formulation. Otherwise, if consensus eludes us, both houses choose to disagree with each other, then a joint session of the houses will take it up." Unquote. The Joint Parliamentary Committee, which is currently examining the land acquisition bill, is receiving views from different stakeholders.
ने पहले भी कहा इसको लाने की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं थी। 2013 का कानून सर्वसम्मति से बना था, बीजेपी भी उसमें शामिल थी। अब इससे स्पष्ट होता है कि इनमें राजनीतिक ईमानदारी नहीं है और ये किसान के और गरीब के हित की नहीं सोचते। जहां तक कांग्रेस पार्टी का प्रश्न है, हम इसका मजबूती से विरोध करेंगे।
Jaitley's statement comes a day after 3 RSS affiliates, the BMS, the BKS and the ABVK, told the Joint Parliamentary Committee on the Land Acquisition Bill that they opposed the changes in the 2013 Act enacted by the UPA.
इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर से उसकी पॉलिसीज को लेकर मुखालफत शुरू हो गई है। अडवाणी जी का इंटरव्यू, उसके बाद आज संजय जोशी जी के पोस्टर्स लगे हुए हैं जिसमें बड़ा ज़बरदस्त उन्होंने सवाल उठाया है सरकार से। मैं समझता हूं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर बगावत के सुर बढ़ते जा रहे हैं।
It should give a kind of signal to the government even now, even if they have committed to their circle of crony capitalists. It is time for them to revise their opinion, revise their position, and they should listen to even those voices which are supposed to be close to them.
Although he refrained from giving a time frame, Jaitley said the present government had the numbers and will ensure that the landmark reform did take place.
It's a very good point because I believe that the land acquisition should never be done by government. Otherwise, when private parties want, the government should say, please negotiate directly with the farmers. But this whole idea of acquiring the land and then giving it to the private parties, in my opinion, is inconsistent with our market economy concept.
According to the BJP, the land law approved by the former UPA government in 2013 had hindered the complete development of rural India. Jaitley said it did not provide for adding irrigation, rural infrastructure, easy availability of land for affordable housing for poor, and also even industrialization in rural areas. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the centre is planning to amend the Consumer Protection Act to take stringent action for adulteration in food items. The amendments to the 1986 Act is likely to be brought in during the forthcoming monsoon session of Parliament. It is likely to propose punishment of up to life imprisonment if one is found guilty.
At a time when there is uproar over food adulteration, the Consumer Affairs Ministry is planning to make amendments in the existing Consumer Protection Act to give it more teeth. Consumer Affairs Minister Ramvilas Paswan has said there is need to change the 1986 Act to protect consumers from adulteration in food items.
विदेशी कंपनी के खिलाफ में नहीं है। हम चाहते हैं कि देश में विदेशी कंपनी भी आवे, लेकिन एक ही स्टैंडर्ड का चीज़ इंग्लैंड अमेरिका में जो है वो उसका स्टैंडर्ड एक रहे और भारत में उसका स्टैंडर्ड दूसरा आ जाए, ये ठीक नहीं है।
Recently, Nestle's Maggi was banned across the country. Several test results claim the popular product contains excessive levels of lead. However, Paswan has clarified that the government does not intend to act only against foreign companies.
कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट है वो 1986 का बना हुआ है और आज उस समय में ई-कॉमर्स वगैरह कोई कॉन्सेप्ट भी नहीं था, तो आज ई-कॉमर्स का कहते हैं हुआ है, तो उसके लिए हम लोग क्या कहते हैं कानून बना रहे हैं। चौथा चीज़ मान लेते हैं कि सपोज कर लीजिए कि अभी जो हमारा कंज्यूमर कोर्ट है वो इंडिविजुअल के लिए है। आप शिकायत करते हैं तो आपको राहत मिलेगा, नहीं शिकायत कीजिएगा तो घर में बैठिए। अब उसको हम लोग क्लास के साथ में जोड़ रहे हैं, ऑथोरिटी बना रहे हैं।
Paswan has said that a conference of all state food ministers will be convened next month to discuss the matter. The states have a major say on consumer protection in India. To bring changes to the existing act, the centre needs to have the states on board as well. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
The main accused in the Mumbai toxic alcohol tragedy has been arrested by the Delhi police today. The arrest comes on a day when the Maharashtra government ordered a probe into the huge tragedy that has so far claimed 102 lives. The probe would be conducted by Chief Secretary Swadhin Kshatriya, who has also been given a deadline of 3 months to submit a report. Meanwhile, the opposition Congress has demanded the resignation of Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis over the matter. The Delhi police have arrested the main accused involved in the case. Several of those being treated in hospitals are still battling for life with ventilator support.
शाम को टाइम में 10 का पिया। हाँ सर, 10 का पिया, जाके खाना पीना खाया, सो गया। सुबह उठा तो अंदर अंदर दिख रहा था।
अच्छा,
इतना ही प्रॉब्लम।
आँख ज़्यादातर जो लेट आए थे कॉम्प्लिकेशन लेके, उनकी थोड़े बहुत 2-3 पेशेंट हैं जिनकी आंखें डैमेज हो गई है। रिकवरी में 5-6 पेशेंट हैं जो हमारे रिकवर हुए हैं। एग्जैक्ट मॉर्टेलिटी का फिगर अभी मेरे पास है नहीं। जो थोड़े बहुत पेशेंट ऐसे भी थे जो लेट आए थे, एकदम ही मतलब मोर देन 48 आवर्स हो गया था जिनको अल्कोहल लेके, वो थोड़े बहुत एक्सपायर हुए हैं वो।
The Karnataka government has filed a petition in the Supreme Court against Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha's acquittal in a DA case. It claimed that the State High Court did a mathematical error in calculating the assets of Jayalalitha, resulting in miscarriage of justice. Jaya is seeking re-election to the Assembly in R.K. Nagar by-polls later this month to validate her return as Chief Minister.
There is no respite for Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha in the disproportionate assets case that saw her jailed for 8 months. Despite her acquittal in May, the Karnataka High Court order evoked sharp response from the state government. It has now moved Supreme Court, filing a petition claiming that the High Court order made an error while calculating Jayalalitha's assets, leading to her release.
Well, I was actually welcome it. I've been demanding that Karnataka should appeal, and there was a lot of pressure on the Chief Minister, and I congratulate him that ultimately he saw the public mood and acted according to that. The judgment of the High Court is so bad that he has used almost everything that Jayalalitha has herself proposed.
The Karnataka government also challenged the acquittal of 3 others in the case. The move was praised by Jaya's political opponents. Jayalalitha returned to the post of Chief Minister after her acquittal on 12th of May. She needs to win a seat in the Assembly within 6 months of her return as the Chief Minister. The Karnataka government's move comes at a time when she is busy campaigning for the R.K. Nagar by-poll. She even termed the DA case as a politically motivated move to keep her out. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to a focus story this evening. China has blocked India's move in the United Nations for action against Pakistan for the release of 2611 mastermind Zakir Rahman Naqvi from jail last month. The UN Sanctions Committee met at India's request to seek a clarification from Pakistan on Naqvi's release. However, sources say that China blocked the move on grounds that India did not provide sufficient information.
India had approached the United Nations last month against 26/11 mastermind Zakir Rahman Lakhvi's release in April after the Islamabad High Court declared his detention illegal. In a letter to the current chair of the United Nations Sanctions Committee, Jim Mackley, India contended the move, terming the release a violation of the UN resolution dealing with designated entities and individuals. The UN Sanctions Committee, which met at India's request, was to seek a clarification from Pakistan on the matter. But China has blocked India's move, seeking UN action against Pakistan, saying India has not provided enough information. Lakhvi's release drew ire from the centre. The government had termed the move as a stumbling block in resuming bilateral talks with Pakistan, stalled since last year.
आतंक हिंसा से दूर सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण में ही बातचीत हो सकती है। वो सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण कब बनेगा? जब इस तरह के परपेट्रेटर्स के खिलाफ पाकिस्तान एक्शन करेगा, चाहे वो लखवी हो। अब लखवी बाहर हो, उसकी रिहाई हो चुकी हो और पाकिस्तान ये समझे कि सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण बन गया और हम बात करें, तो इसको क्या भारत स्वीकार करेगा?
Lakhvi faces trial along with 6 others over the attack in 2008 in Mumbai, in which 166 people were killed. The cases have made virtually no progress in more than 5 years, paving the way for his release. Lakhvi's release was viewed with concern in US, Russia, France and Germany. Washington has also demanded his rearrest. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Sanjay Kapoor, editor at Hard News, now joins us to help us understand, Sanjay, as far as this move is concerned by China. I mean, the bonhomie between China and Pakistan is well known, but things were changing around. Prime Minister Modi had gone to China. We were hoping for a new bonhomie, but it seems that the status quo is still the same as far as these strategic positions on such important issues go.
Yeah, I think China is very deeply invested in Pakistan. And physically, if you look at it, they recently announced at the time when Xi Jinping went to Pakistan, a $46 billion Gwadar to Kashgar industrial corridor. So now it is very clear that they are not going to be too impressed with the narrative that India has been building up for quite a while, that Pakistan is a failed state which provides protection to terrorists, and they are the ones who have been funding terrorism in India. So by taking a very categorical stance that they will not allow shaming of Pakistan in the United Nations Security Council, they are saying that, look here, we will stand by Pakistan, whatever may be your case. And this is typical of Chinese foreign policy. They do not give up many of those people on the basis of what US has been saying or anybody else has been saying. They stood by Sudan, and they kind of ignored international pressure. For them, it is far more important, their national interest, than whatever other people say. But having said that, the decision by China to stand by Pakistan has very serious implications. I think it becomes very clear to Indian government that you need to fight your own battle and you need to secure your environment in the manner in which you can do it. And surely, China has made it clear that it's invested in Pakistan and it would remain that way. So it's a very tricky situation for India, especially when the touchstone for carrying forward any discussion with Pakistan is how do you deal with 26/11 incident or the violence that took place in Mumbai. And when China is saying that you are not providing adequate evidence to stall the release or to get Mr. Zakir Rahman Lakhvi re-arrested, it surely means that India would have to,
But has India erred somewhere? Because this has been the constant refrain from Pakistan. China, obviously, their friend, now following suit. But has India given enough evidence? I mean, as far as the media is concerned, there was enough evidence. I mean, there were voice samples and you could hear Zakir Rahman Lakhvi talking and handling those terrorists that had come into Mumbai.
There's been a difference of opinion between what Pakistan or Pakistani courts actually says quality evidence and what India has said. Because if the Pakistan government starts interfering in how the court proceeds and whatever, then they will be seen as suggesting that the courts are not independent. Because the government of India's entire charge is that the Pakistani government and its assessment is responsible for whatever happened in Mumbai. And Pakistan, by taking refuge behind how the courts conduct themselves, would ensure that the charge does not stick on its ISI and other agencies. So it's a very, very tricky game which is being played by Pakistan. At the moment, they are succeeding primarily because now they have China on their side, which also agrees with them that the evidence is not enough. And China's charge against India is that they have not given quality evidence. Even when the earlier Home Minister had gone to Pakistan, they said that nothing. I mean, during one of my visits, I met Rahman Malik, who was the Interior Minister, and he was very categorical that Indian government makes a lot of noise but doesn't give evidence. But we are very sure that we gave voice samples, which some of them were collected from the US, from other agencies, and they were presented to them. But at some stage, it doesn't really get the kind of attention, as well as the Pakistani courts are not giving the kind of importance that we expect them to. So it's still very, very tricky at the moment.
All right. So as far as 2611 is concerned, it seems a status quo for now, and really justice not happening for the victims of the 2611 attack. But as far as the India-China relationship, now we were hoping for a new dawn. Prime Minister Modi had gone there, Xi Jinping had come over here, and there was expected to be new bonhomie, but that's certainly not happening. Or is this one of the things that would happen on the sidelines while we continue with economic engagement?
No, it is very clear. China has made it amply clear at the moment that Pakistan is with whom they have a brotherly relationship. When Xi Jinping went to Islamabad, he said he's like coming home of a brother. They describe it very colorfully, deeper than the sea and higher than the Himalayas, the relationship. Those kind of adjectives are not used against India. There is a certain amount of, you can say, suspicion and a lack of trust between India and China, and that is very clear. And as I was saying earlier, the corridor in which the Pakistan corridor in which China is invested, it changes the economic geography of relationship. It is very clear that China and Pakistan don't want India to go towards Central Asia. And that will, in a certain way, determine how Chinese, work out relationship with India.
All right, it's interesting. The geopolitics would certainly be playing out over the next few months as far as this is concerned. But Sanjay Kapoor, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand the subject a little better. Well, on that note, we'll take a very quick break, but coming up on the other side, voices of dissent have emerged within the BJP over the Lalit Modi row as the Congress has stepped up its attack against the top BJP leadership. More on that on the other side.
Despite widespread showers, India's Met Department pressing the panic button. Will the country have a deficient rainfall? Or the farmers staring at a drought?
What a special report. Clouds of fear. Only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, the controversy involving former IPL chief Lalit Modi, Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje and Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj is refusing to die down. While the Congress stepped up its attack against the top leadership of the BJP on this matter, voices of dissent have also started coming out from the BJP itself.
Upping the ante over the Lalit Modi controversy, the Congress has targeted the Prime Minister for his silence on the issue. Party leader Sachin Pilot said the party will continue to keep up the pressure for Vasundhara Raje's exit from the post of Chief Minister.
As the Congress party have on legal, ethical and moral grounds asked for the resignation of the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, we believe that the belated defense of the Chief Minister of Rajasthan is also something that is unacceptable.
Meanwhile, BJP MP R.K. Singh struck a discordant note over his party leaders Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje's extending help to former IPL chief Lalit Modi.
बिल्कुल गलत है भाई, किसी भगोड़े से जाकर के मुलाकात करें, वो भी पुलिस कमिश्नर, बिल्कुल गलत है। इंडिविजुअल्स की बात मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ, जो भी हो, अगर भगोड़ा को मदद करता है कोई भी व्यक्ति तो गलत है, ये कानूनन गलत है, मॉरली भी गलत है।
In a defiant move, however, the Rajasthan cabinet passed a resolution on Tuesday thanking Union Minister Nitin Gadkari for giving a clean sheet to the State Chief Minister. Vishal Dayya's report for Rajya Sabha television.
Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has also sought the Prime Minister's action against External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje over the Lalit Modi controversy. The first day of the Delhi Assembly's budget session saw uproar from BJP over former Law Minister Jitendra Tomar's alleged fake degree case. Facing protests, Kejriwal targeted Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling for an inquiry against the two accused leaders of doing favours to the former IPL chief. BJP MLA OP Sharma was dragged out of the assembly by marshals twice during the day's proceedings. However, the two remaining BJP MLAs continued with their protests.
पुलिस जांच कर रही है और जो मीडिया में आ रहा है, मुझे नहीं पता कितनी सच्चाई है कितना गलत है, लेकिन अगर वो सब सच है तो मुझे लगता है कि मुझे धोखे में रखा गया था, कि जैसे मुझे धोखे में रखा गया ऐसे ही लगता है कि उनके अपने मंत्री भी प्रधानमंत्री जी को धोखे में रख रहे हैं। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी को जिन जिन मंत्रियों के ऊपर आरोप लग रहे हैं, जैसे सुषमा जी हैं, वसुंधरा राजे जी हैं, उन सबको मंत्रिमंडल से हटाकर और उनकी भी सबकी निष्पक्ष जांच करवाई जाए और उन सबके खिलाफ कानूनी कार्रवाई की।
अच्छी आदत है इनकी, अब ये अगर सही बात बोलोगे तो उठा के बाहर फेंक देंगे। या तो ये परंपराओं को जानते नहीं है या जानबूझकर उनका उल्लंघन करते हैं। हमने जब हमारी जो है बिजनेस एडवाइजरी कमेटी की मीटिंग हुई थी, हमने ये सवाल अपने उठाए थे। हमने उनसे कहा था कि आप तोमर जी का जो आज पूरी दिल्ली के अंदर ज्वलंत मामला है, आप इसके ऊपर बहस कराइए। अब वो किसी भी चीज के लिए कोई ना कोई उल्टी सीधी चीज ढूंढ के हर चीज को वो करते हैं। तो हमारा केवल आज ये कहना था कि इस मंत्रिमंडल का एक सदस्य जो पिछले 15 दिन से जेल में है, जिसकी डिग्रियों को सत्यापित सीएम साहब ने किया, तो उसके लिए सीएम साहब प्रकाश डालें।
Time now for all the other national news and updates in nationwide. The Delhi government has imposed Essential Services Maintenance Act against the resident doctors who are on strike. The action was taken after the doctors refused to end their strike and report to work, despite the Delhi government accepting all their 19 demands. Around 2,000 doctors at 20 hospitals in the national capital launched an indefinite strike on Monday, demanding adequate life-saving drugs, security at workplace, and timely payment of their salaries. The All India Pre-Medical Test for the year 2015-16 will be reconducted on the 25th of July. The decision comes after the Supreme Court granted more time to the CBSE last week to reconduct the test. It has directed CBSE to declare results by the 17th of August. The test conducted on the 3rd of May was cancelled after reports of paper leak in several states. Normal life was crippled in the Latehar district of Jharkhand after a day-long shutdown was called by the Naxals protesting against an encounter by security forces. The Naxals alleged that the police killed members of the group in a fake encounter. Meanwhile, a group of armed Naxals torched 8 tractors in the Vaishali district of neighbouring Bihar to enforce a 2-day shutdown in the state beginning today. Sister Nirmala, who headed the Missionaries of Charity after the death of Mother Teresa, died today. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee was among hundreds to pay tribute to her at the Missionaries of Charity today. In 1997, 6 months before Mother Teresa's death, Nirmala Joshi was selected Superior General of the Missionaries of Charity. Now, incessant rains have unleashed a flood-like situation in many parts of the country. The northeast, particularly Assam, is already grappling with severe floods after the Brahmaputra began flowing above the danger mark. Torrential rains have raised fears of heavy flooding in Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana as well.
A flood threat is looming over western and southern India. Non-stop torrential downpour has caused massive waterlogging in many parts of Maharashtra. Normal life has been disrupted since Friday, causing massive inconvenience to commuters.
यहाँ पे चलने में दिक्कत है, देखो गाड़ी बंद पड़ रहा है, यहाँ से क्रॉसिंग करने जाएगा तो नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि लेडीज महिला आती जाती है, उनको बहुत तकलीफ होता है, लेकिन ये सालों साल का इधर कुछ होता नहीं ना कुछ होएगा।
The situation is grim in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, where the Godavari and its tributaries are in spate. Nearly a dozen villages along the river banks are inundated. The rains also wreaked havoc in Odisha, cutting off communication links in several villages in Malkangiri district. Over 20,000 people are reported to be affected.
On an average, in the last 2 days, we have received 17 to 18 centimeters per day of rainfall, and water level in many rivers has increased. Wherever necessary, we have opened temporary shelters.
Assam remains the worst affected, with as many as 70 villages affected by floods. More than 27,000 people are displaced and nearly 1,600 hectares of crop area is completely submerged. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, an intense heat wave in Pakistan's southern Sindh province has killed over 600 people in the country's worst heat stroke in more than a decade. With bodies continuing to flood major hospitals, the country is facing an unprecedented situation.
A rare heat wave has gripped Pakistan since the advent of Ramzan last Friday. Temperatures soaring up to 45 degrees Celsius have killed hundreds of people, mostly the elderly, homeless and daily wage laborers.
गर्मी इतनी हो रही है, बेतहाशा बर्दाश्त नहीं है, बड़े बुजुर्ग हैं, बड़े एज के लोग हैं, अब क्या होगा ये तो हुकूमत को भी नहीं सोच रही ना.
A major power breakdown in many parts of Karachi led to shortage of water supply, adding to the problems of the suffering Pakistanis. Hundreds are being treated for heat-related ailments like fever, dehydration and low blood pressure, while dead bodies are piling up in major hospitals.
बहुत गर्मी है, कारोबार करने का दिल नहीं कर रहा है, घर पे जाके बैठने का दिल कर रहा है, घर पे जाते तो लाइट नहीं होती है, बिजली की भी लोड शेडिंग चल रही है.
The scorching heat was earlier expected to continue further, but sudden heavy rains and cool winds broke the spell in many parts. Pakistan Meteorological Department's prediction of rainfall for the next 24 hours has brought temperatures down.
अभी भी चूँकि एक मानसून का सिलसिला पाकिस्तान के नज़दीक पहुंच चुका है और अगले 24 घंटों में हवा में नमी का तनासब पंजाब और सिंध में काफ़ी हद तक बढ़ जाएगा, जिसके वजह से अगर 24 घंटों के बाद एक बारिश का सिलसिला होने का इम्कान है.
The Pakistani government has imposed emergency at all hospitals and has increased stocks of medical supplies. Meanwhile, the Pakistani army and paramilitary rangers have set up special centers to treat heat stroke victims. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more international news now in Global Buzz. Iran's parliament today passed a bill obliging the government to safeguard the country's nuclear rights and achievements, despite talks with global powers in curbing its program remain inconclusive. The vote came as a hard bargaining over a final deal due by the end of this month. Britain and France have reiterated that comprehensive inspections of Iran's nuclear sites are essential compliance measures. South Korea's health ministry has reported 3 new cases of MERS in the country, taking the total of 275. Authorities said they are set to ban people who are in quarantine at home from boarding domestic airlines from today. Close to 3,000 people are in quarantine in South Korea, either at home or at health facilities. South Carolina leaders have called on lawmakers to take down the Confederate battle flag in the state capital. The leaders urged lawmakers to remove the symbol of slavery during the U.S. Civil War. The move comes days after the shooting in Charleston Church that left at least 9 dead. 2 hostages kidnapped by Al-Qaeda militants in northern Mali have asked their government's help to secure their release in a video. The Swedish and South African hostages were kidnapped more than 3 years ago. The 19-minute video shows a stamp of Al-Andalus, which claims to be the media arm of the Al-Qaeda in North Africa. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.